All right. What's going on, everybody? Welcome back to another Coffee and Cigars for our Thursday night hang. How y'all doing this week? It's the Ravens time. We got Ravens, got my Ravens jersey on today. We're playing the Kansas City. No, what are we playing today? We're playing the Cincinnati Bengals, not the Kansas City Chiefs, but the Cincinnati Bengals here in Baltimore. So there it is. If you're down at the game, let me know. If you're not, why? If you're not, why would you be there? Right, you're here then. Devin, what's going on, Devin? And then Rusty's with us. What's going on? Good to see you both. How's everything going? This jersey I got, actually, I got this jersey a while back. I got this during the year that we won the Super Bowl. This is the Ravens jersey of that era with the Super Bowl logo here, and the old Ray Lewis one. I thought might be nice to have purple, and my other ones are all black. So Tony's with us, number three. What's going on? How you doing, man? Good to see you. Good to see you. I was trying to get down to your shop today, Tony. I just wasn't able to make it down there. I'll probably get down there tomorrow to pick up that stuff. I appreciate that. All right, so today we've got what do we got going on here? We're going to try the Diesel Vintage Robusto Gorda, which was something that Tony recommended to me when I stopped by his shop a couple weeks ago. I can give that a try finally, and then we're gonna have some coffee. We're gonna brew some coffee from Matagalpa, Nicaragua, which is about an hour away from Esteli, where these cigars are made. So we're gonna brew that up first, and do that while we're. What we really need to get is a purple one of these sustainers, right? If we get a purple one for the Ravens, that would be ideal. So how's everything going? Everyone doing well this week? I got my little kit here that I've been using lately to make coffee. A little brew kit filled with the MSR. Like I think I used it last week. Did I use this last week? The MSR Pocket Rocket stove allows me to heat the water up right away. It's pretty fast, not too bad. I finally, after I've had this stove for about 4 years now, and I bought two of these butanes, and I don't use it all the time, but I finally ran out of the first butane, and I was like, wow, that's pretty good. It's pretty good. I can't say that was too bad. But the weather here's lately has been really nice this week. I really have liked the weather. Not too cold, not too hot. Well, one day was like 85 degrees. Couldn't believe it. But overall, it's been fairly nice and relatively mild. But we're supposed to get some rain over on Sunday, I think. I was supposed to go play paintball with my nephew and my brother, and he was like, called me today. He's like, hey, there's going to rain on Sunday. Maybe we should go on Saturday. Can you just do Saturday? I was like, yeah, man, I can do Saturday. No problem. I'm easy. I'm flexible. So I got some water. Let me get the water out here. I'll pour some water. I should let you see that, right? You want to see the brew action. The brew action. So the game starts in about 10 minutes. I don't really watch the games like I used to. Like I used to go all the time. Now I don't really go very often. No, I don't go at all anymore. Okay, so I did this the other day on the other live stream, and I toppled that over because I was playing or mucking around with it too much. So we've got our coffee brewing now, and we're going to use the AeroPress. I think we did this last week. Did we do this last week? We're going to do the AeroPress. Very simple. We'll put the coffee in. 36 grams. So this coffee comes from a place called it's a community co-op where they have in Matagalpa, where a bunch of families that grow coffee come together to process their coffee and then sell it. And this is imported to the United States by a company called Gold Mountain Importers, who sold it to Matt, my friend, and his company. And they roasted it up, and he was like, I really like this. Give it a try. Come and give it a try. And so, pretty good, pretty good. So looking at today's schedule for the game, looks like the Cincinnati Bengals have a record of 4-5, and the Ravens 6-3. So we're ahead, but we don't really want to let them get any more points. So hopefully we can beat them up. But the Bengals have really improved. Like back in 2000. 12, the Bengals were pretty bad. And I remember we were talking about the Bengals and we were speculating on PSLs and we're talking about, hey, let's go buy, maybe we should go buy some PSLs at the Bengals because they say the Bengals will be good in a few years. And so maybe we can make money on the PSLs. Well, they don't do the PSL thing at the Bengals. They do just a different system that and we kind of talked to them about buying season tickets, but when you're several hundred miles away, it seems a little bit crazy to try to buy season tickets. Let me turn this up so we can go a little faster. So how's your guys' week been? Anything good? Anything happen interesting? What are you guys smoking tonight as well? Let me know what you guys are smoking, or if you're smoking about it. Oh, good. We got a good boil. We do have a good boil going on. Just going to open this up. Tony says the politically correct term is budget friendly or value added, not low end for the diesel. You know what? I always, it's not a question about being um, budget friendly. I never even thought about them being budget friendly. Like here's the thing, for the most part, I never think too much about budget. I just think about whether or not I'm interested even in trying it. Like diesel, the name has always come off to me as like being a low end kind of cigar without, and and the truth is, I don't know. I never knew anything about it, right? Like I never knew really anything about the diesel at all. And so it's really just kind of like, because I think the marketing or the labels, for whatever reason, just kind of remind me, gave me the impression like of Gurkha. That's really what it is. It kind of, the branding reminded me of Gurkha, and I was like, I'm not gonna bother to try those. And it wasn't until George Shem was like, was it last week, a couple weeks ago, he was like, man, you should try the diesel. And because I was like, well, all right, I'll give it a try. And then when I went by Tony Shep, I was like, all right, let me come and try it out. And I mean, I'll try anything. Like, I cannot be prejudiced against cigars. One should not be. One should be open to whatever may come your way. All right, there we go. We got this. We're going to put this on here. Devin says, nothing interesting besides good smokes. I'm smoking a Tabernacle Broadleaf Corona. Oh, nice. Nice, nice, nice. And Tony says, I'm smoking a 20-year-old A-size cigar, maybe Padron Anniversary and a Diet Cherry Pepsi. Nice, nice. Oh, maybe it's a Padron Anniversary, or maybe you will have an anniversary after the A-size. Mom, good to see you, man. How's everything going? We're making AeroPress coffee again, like we've done in the past. Okay, we got a little hissing there. Good. Add the rest of our water that we have brewed. There's not much left, actually, in the water. So I'm going to have to use some of the water to balance it out. Good, good, good. We'll just put all this over there. All right, all right. So here, cheers to you guys. This is the coffee. Yeah, good to see you, man. Maybe it's a Padron Anniversary because it's a mystery. Gotcha. Okay. Got the mystery cigar going on here. I gotta wipe my table off because I'm in the middle of this is the workbench that I've been working on. I've been working on this workbench here for the last few days, putting in these 20 millimeter dog holes and figuring that out, which really took a lot of work. And so now finally I put the first coat of paint on it to make it look a little bit nicer. I've got some T-track and miter track here because eventually the idea is to put a router here so that it's all kind of integrated. Tony might need another Diet Pepsi. I think you might. I'm sure he's got plenty. All right. So we're rolling. Oh, the coffee's nice. Sweetness. I brewed this morning on the morning show, and it was a lot different. This one I ground in that we brewed it with the Café Deep 27, and in what turned out to be a fairly coarse grind. So I ground this a lot finer to get more fine out of it, and this is actually a nicer rendition of it. Cheers. Okay, so it's time for the Diesel. The Diesel, like I said, the Diesel is a cigar that I've really have well, I don't know if I've misunderstood them. I mean, I guess the misunderstanding part will come from my experience today. Devin says, "Do you know which coffee from Gold Mountain is?" It is what Matt told me. This is the Matagalpa Community Coffee. I don't know what that means. I think that's the name of the co-op. And Tony has two of those cigars. Nice. So this is the cigar. Like I said, this is the Diesel Vintage Corona Gordo. I think, is that right? I think that's what it said on their website. I forgot to write down what the composition, but this is a collaboration between a guy and AJ Fernandez. And so I didn't know that this is a AJ Fernandez. I just figured it's a Gurkha. Like, to me, this branding looks Gurkha-ish. Like it just has this and Diesel. What is that even? Like, to me, it's like, it's like the flathead. Like, am I really going to think that the flathead is going to be, I've had the flatheads with, flathead Diesel. The name didn't really resonate with me. And so Devin says it's a natural Pacamara. Oh yeah, that makes sense because those beans, we were trying to grind them the other day in the Ode at Matt's house. Man, they were huge. I was like, what in the world? What bean is this? It's so large. I thought it might have been Margohipe, but Pacamara is pretty big as well. No Pepsis. I thought you'd have Diet Cherry Pepsi. Mom says, I like the Unholy Cocktail by Diesel. Oh, interesting. Here's the thing. So, like, what's going on, Craig? Good to see you, man. Let us know what you're going to be smoking from that wild collection of yours. But for me, it's always like, it's just the name, the Diesel. So I never thought more than, oh, there's a cigar named Diesel. Why would I try that? It must be like the Flathead, and which reminds me of like Gurkha and Rocky Patel, which I just don't really find those cigars to my palate liking, right? And so it was just one of these cigars that just seemed like, oh, maybe it's just this, maybe these are just, yeah, the branding looked very Gurkish. So I was just kind of like, I just ignored them, just kind of like, where's everything else? But time to give it a try. And so as I was reading today on it a little bit, I found out it is made by AJ Fernandez, which I didn't know either. And so I was kind of surprised. But, very nice chocolatey colored wrapper, very even looking. Looking at it now, no veins. Very pretty. A little bit, when we talk about the suppleness of the wrapper, this particular one's a little bit on the dry side. Now, since I have had it in this bag with this Boveda, and this Boveda is very pliable at the moment, right? So, and I don't know how that impacts it. I don't know if it's supposed to be like more, oily, but it definitely has on the drier side, but it still feels nice, right? And we can see what else there's. See that this is their banding. All right. Well, kind of manure-ish, kind of sweet manure. Ooh, interesting. Good bit of manure, barnyard. Oh, we have to look at the color. Let's look at the color. Let me look at the color here. I'm going to say the color is definitely more in this range, right? Look at that color range. I think that's definitely more in the towards the darker shade. But it's having the Flathead 660 perfect motor. Oh, the Flathead 660 is a perfect motorcycle cigar. Heavy wrapper can take the. Oh, nice, nice. Okay, yeah, that makes sense. I remember when I used to live in Hawaii and I had a convertible. We would smoke cigars, and I don't know how it is for you guys, like Bud and everybody else that rides motorcycles. But when I had the convertible, the way the cigar would burn, I forgot exactly how it burned, but it used to burn so strangely, but never evenly. I don't know if you guys have that issue. All right, so it has nice, rich fragrance, which I'm actually really enjoying. Let's do a cutting on it. I'm just going to use this cheap. This is the cutter I use here in the garage. A little bit small on the hole right there. Let's see how the draw goes. Good draw. Oh, oh. Nice sweetness on the wrapper. Not sugary sweet, not like the sugar dip cigars that Steve Saka sells, but just kind of a natural sweetness. Hmm. That's quite. And then the draw is nice. The draw actually enhances the sweetness on the tongue. Wow, that's really nice. I'm gonna have to say that's 875. All right, let's go for the lighting. Let's go for the lighting. I'm using this. I don't know what this is. What is this? This is a LPT. This is a Link LPT 12200 torch. This is a torch that I bought many years ago, well over 10 years ago, and I used to keep it in my old truck. And I didn't realize it, but like there's a lever here that says off, right? You turn it on, right? You rotate it this way, and that opens the gas valve. And then you rotate this to arm the igniter, and then you turn it on. And then you to shut it off, you turn it down, and it eventually goes off. But for whatever, or I think what happened was I thought this would turn it off, and I I'm driving somewhere, and I lit the cigar. I clicked it, and I was, of course, I'm driving, so I'm not paying 100%. And I put this down on the seat. A few moments later, I'm smelling something burning. And I was like, holy crap, the the torch was still on. And I was like, oh my gosh, man, I totally scorched my chair, my seat, my passenger seat. I was so upset. Tony says, that's Mexican San Andres Maduro for you. Oh, nice. Yeah, yeah, it's very, very lovely. Actually, it's really a nice, really nice beginning. All right, let's roast this tip a little bit. Okay, I think that's good. Still not totally lit in the center. It's a little bit cantankerous to use. I think it's really meant for like, I don't know, brazing or something like that. Hmm. All right, good richness starting out. Like, sometimes you go to like Nicaraguan cigars, and there's a really heavy black peppery spiciness to it. That is not the case here. It's actually, this is a nice, Actually a really nice, not too very pronounced blend of, it's just a nice blend. Maybe light spices, but definitely a bready kind of character. Like you talk about Nicaraguan cigars, you expect this spiciness, black pepper, all this kind of like fireworks of individual flavors. This is really moving into that melange kind of. It's starting off as a melange of flavors. Just a really enjoyable bready. Bready is really the best term, I think, at the moment. All right, all right. Starting off nice. Tony, how much are these cigars again? I don't recall how much I paid for this one. It's actually starting off well. I have to say, right now I'm pleasantly surprised. Definitely very bready. The bread, it's really like warm bread kind of character to it. Like I hear people talk about that and other reviewers, mentioning that in their reviews, and I'm like, well, warm bread. I don't really get that in a lot of stuff, but this definitely has a bready character. So with the OTP, other tobacco products tax, it's $9.79. Okay, not terrible, not terrible. Nice price. That's a decent price at this point at this time. It feels this last puff starting to feel a little bit like it's moving to a darker experience. So it's got nice richness. The breadiness has kind of toned down more towards a little more richer, a little bit sharpness coming through. I would say it's kind of medium plus body, not too heavy, but definitely not light. It's very assured in the body. George Shem is with us. What's going on, George, man? Good to see you. We are smoking the diesel vintage Robusto because of your encouragement. And you know what's starting off? Very nicely. Very nicely. So the game, Ravens Bengals, is on. Bengals have the ball. Second and goal at the Baltimore 2. Ooh, that's not good. 9:45 left in the first quarter. So, George, what are you smoking tonight? Are you outside? It's getting a little bit chilly. Well, we're gonna find out. We're gonna find out. Actually, it started off very nicely. We're getting a little bit of an even burn. Maybe it could be that I'm puffing on it a little bit harder, but the little burn's a little bit uneven. There are some darker tones that I was talking about that are, yeah, Here's something. I bought this jersey back in 2012. Right? When we're going to the Super Bowl, and I'm wearing it today. I could not have worn this back then, but today I can wear it. Not bad, but it is a little bit on the snugger side. Like if I was a muscle kind of guy, like it'd be a all muscly shirt, which I'm not used to because it kind of pulls. So it feels like I don't have enough wiggle room, right? So I feel like a little bit tense. George says, I'm outside in shorts smoking a my father la intinquidad. Oh, wow. How is that coming along? Oh, man. I think that the Ravens, earlier this season, the Ravens played on a Thursday night, didn't they? Because I thought I remember we did this a month or two ago, which I think is an unusual thing. Like we never had, I don't think we ever had like two Thursday night games in a season when I was going to the games a lot. But they're doing well, man. Six games out of nine they've won. I like that. Then my father's doing well. Just lit it up about 15 minutes ago. Good to hear it. Good to hear it. What are you smoking there with that? Are you smoking? What are you drinking with that? Some more martinis. The coffee seems to go nicely with the cigar. Ah, red wine. Red wine. Nice, nice. Like I was telling everybody, I've been working on this table here, right? And if you remember a couple weeks ago when we did the sanding, this is the same table. Now, I primed it so that I would have a white work surface. Then I had to map out a grid for all these holes, and these are all 20 millimeters in size. And they do sell these jigs, right? There's a company that sells a jig that will allow you to, accurately lay this out and accurately drill the holes. But that kit is like $400. And I was like, I'm going to build one table. I don't want to spend $400 on a jig that I may never use again. That's when my friend, he was like, oh, dude, if you told me that, I would have gone half with you. I was like, too late now. So I bought a little drill vise thing that controls the verticality of your drilling. And I sat here for like 3 days mapping out, trying to make sure that the table was square, finding the dead center of it, and then working out from there, building these squares. Now, each of these 20 millimeter dog holes have to be offset from each other by 96 millimeters in the center. And I laid it out one time, and then I looked at it, and I was like, and I double checked it because I was going to drill it, and then I double checked it. And I was like, I was totally off by like 2 millimeters. So like one square was off by a millimeter, then two, then four, then it just kind of exponentially got all skewed. And I was like, screw it all, erase it all and go back in. Measure to once, cut twice. Yeah, that's definitely our mantra here, man. I tell you. So I think I did it at least 3 times before I was able to accurately get the yes. And it was easy for me. So once I got it laid out, then I was like, okay, good, we are good to go. Oh, let me just check something. I just noticed that I spilled some WD-40 on a little drop of it over there and wanted to wipe it up. I was working on the drill press before we started, trying to clean up the top here. It had a little bit of rust on it, so I just kind of got some 3M red and this WD-40 and just started scrubbing it down. Anyway, so I ended up, remeasuring this 3 times before I finally started drilling. And there's 86 holes in this drill top, right? And this is actually 2 sheets of 3/4 inch plywood. So it's an inch and a half of coring that has to be done for each one, which is pretty difficult. And I'm using a Forstner bit, 20 millimeter Forstner bit from a company called Fish. And I started drilling. You just got to take the time to make sure that your crosshairs, your bit is on the center of the crosshairs. So a little bit meticulous. And so I started drilling and I started thinking, man, I'm using my Festool drill, right, to do one. It's a 12-volt drill, and I was like using that, and I'm like, man, this is a lot of like work on the drill. I was thinking, man, maybe I should go run out and maybe I should use my DeWalt because, you know, cheaper than the Festool, or maybe run out and buy like a cheap drill and use that to drill through it. Because if I burn those drills up, the cost of replacing it is not that bad. And I thought about it, then I realized that, wait a minute, the reason that the Festool is so, part of the reason why it's so expensive is because they have this 3-year warranty. So if you burn up the tool within 3 years, they will replace it or fix it. And I was like, oh man, well then, I'm gonna see if I can burn this sucker out. So I drilled the entire table, 86 holes. Took me 3 batteries worth, and no problems whatsoever, man. That little tiny 12-volt, and they have 18-volt as their big one. This is just a small one, right? They're it's basically like a small cabinet assembly drill. This thing drilled the hell out of this table. So I'm really, really impressed again. Makes you kind of want to think about maybe I should get the 18-volt version too. But I didn't buy the bigger one because I've got an 18-volt DeWalt impact driver. It's like that is a solid. It's been a solid performer for many years for me. So, and it's not anywhere near running out of gas or anything. So there's no real need for another 18-volt. But the idea is that I'm going to drop a router lift here. So I put miter track in, or I'm putting miter track in, and I'm putting T-track here because if I want to build a fence for it, then I can use the T-track as a measure of controlling the fence. But I found a guy online that's selling this whole fence system that I really like for like not dirt cheap, but at a very good price. I was like, oh my gosh, I've been trying to talk with him on online. I was like, hey man, when's a good time to come pick this stuff up? But he says if we were in America, you could have drilled 7/8. No 7/8, man. 20 millimeters is the only way. But I gotta say, like using this metric thing has been very nice. Like if I'm looking at, like I'm measuring this for a new table for top four. 472 millimeters is the width. If I want to divide that, basically it's what, 235, 236 millimeters done. If I don't know what the measurement is in imperial because I never measured it in imperial, but like if it was like, I don't know, 16 and 7/8, well, what is half of that? 8 and 3 1/2 eighths. or something like that. And so I don't know. I think that the base 10 numbering system is a little bit more simple to use. Craig says that just lit up a Partagas SD nice, Series D number 4. Beautiful, beautiful. Uh-oh, are we running out of power? Okay, no, we're good, we're good. So, the cigar, actually really nice, really nice. I mentioned earlier that there's a little bit of a darkness, a darker character coming out of it. The bread is gone, the breadiness is gone, but now it's just kind of this darker, brooding. You know what? It does remind me, the darkness is reminiscent of, to me, of the Intemperance Revenge, or just at least the Intemperance BA 21. It's not the same. The BA has the Brazilian Arapiraca has a deeper, deeper complexity to it. That this doesn't have. But this is actually so far very good. Honestly, much better than I would have thought, considering my thoughts on diesel. Tony says 471 is half, 4 and 7 of whatever is half of 8 and 7. And if you remember, I don't remember. I don't want to remember fractions, man. 47 sixteenths. Good Lord, man, that's crazy. Oh, 4 and 7 sixteenths. Gotcha, gotcha. I only learned the whole board thing, like the board foot thing, the whole like quarter sheet, or the 4 4 8 4 12 4. I only learned that like last week. I was like, oh, okay, fine, I get it. Finally, when I'm talking with Doug at Groff and Groff, I can like speak some of his language. How thick do you need? Yeah, 5/4 would be great. 5/4 would be great. All right. Mm. The Bengals have scored against us, but we're getting close. We're on the Cincinnati 10, 3rd and 10. Uh-oh, 3rd and 10. Good Lord. Millimeters is just easier, says Craig. I have to agree. I have to agree. Just a lot simpler. And there's a brand here that the people seem to love. Woodworkers seem to love this one brand of tools from a company called Woodpeckers. It's actually this red ruler here. I've only bought like this ruler and the smaller one of the smaller version of that one, because that's the only one. It's a triangle ruler, which has imperial on one side. It has centering. It has imperial on one side, metric on the other, and on the third side it has centering rules with on opposing sides that has imperial and metric. And I was like, oh, I like that. But the Woodcraft only stocks mostly, and for woodpeckers, they only stock the imperial scales. And I was like, I want to buy stuff from you guys, but I can't buy it because it's all imperial. And then I can barely see, so I have to like wear glasses now. Like when I'm working here, like I have to wear the reading glasses so that I can accurately see where to mark. And it's actually kind of terrible. And then I've also gone through a whole bunch of pens, not pens, but pencils, right? So they make these pencils, these Pica pencils, which are fine. So they have two different types. They have a regular, well, they have a very big one that's very similar to the carpenter's pencils. And then they have a bigger one that you can sharpen. And then they have one that has 0.9 millimeter lead. And I was like, okay, that works fairly good. And then the other day I got this one. I think I talked about this last week. I got this tomato mechanical pencil, because I found that even that 0.9 or 0.7 millimeter was a little bit thick. And I was like, I want something a little more precise. And so I got this, and this is working pretty well. And then last weekend I was down at the this other store, and they had this marking knife, and I was like, I think I need that marking knife. Still don't know how to use it. It's a Japanese hand hammered marking knife, like single bevel. And I was like, huh. Oh yeah, the picas. That's exactly. I love the pica. I really have. I guess the pica is something that a lot of woodworkers are using. So if you go to the woodcraft shop here, they all have they're all wearing them, right? Everybody's using pica, and so I went and got the whole spectrum of pica. And I got a little bit out of control with the pica here. I set them all up on my rack. So we've got the 0.7 millimeter, the regular, which is like this, right? Yeah, like that. And then each of these has white, red, and yellow lead. So if you want to mark on like other colored, if I want to write on boards that's hard to see with the graphite, you can use that. And what they don't sell at the wood shop is the Pica marker. They have a marker, a thin point marker that you can, and these all have thin points, so you can put them inside, like when you're marking stuff on scale. So I was like, oh, nicer than a Sharpie, right? Because you get the Sharpie and you get the nice sharp point of the Sharpie, but then not too long, the Sharpie is suddenly like rounded. Tony says, what kind of pencil? This is called the Tomato Graph X5 0.5 millimeter. I got this on sale last month. They had these on sale for $5.99, and I think they're normally like $7.99 or something like that. But I realized that I needed one. I was like, all right, I'll just buy it because it's on sale. Do I really need it? I don't know. But actually, it's really been awesome. Like, I like this a lot because it's a really thin line, right? So if I'm gonna mark something, it's really thin, so you can be kind of precise. It helps to be more precise with what you're doing. It's funny you say that because I was looking, on Festool's. Festool has their main website. They're like, I guess their main website, the generic website, and then they have different websites for different countries. But so I went to the one for Festool Germany, and they have so much more stuff, like more variations on each tool, more fan stuff. You're like, oh my gosh, man, I totally do this. But what they have is those Pica pencils, right? Because they're green, so they have blue or black Festool, and you're like, oh yeah, definitely, definitely. But yeah, if you ever come to the wood shop here in where I live, there's and even the ones I've been to in other places, a lot of the guys that work there all have the Pica pencils in their things. But this is actually really nice. Like, the only problem with this though, with the 0.5 millimeter, especially like I always want to put the lead out a little bit longer. Like right now it's really short. Like you can kind of see how short it is right there. I like it a little bit longer than that because I just want to make sure that as I'm striking a line, I don't run out. But the longer you put out there, and it's also like on this plywood, this is like exterior grade plywood, I think. So it's kind of rough. So I'm breaking the lead. Like I remember when I first started using this, it was like over the weekend, and I was like, oh man, I'm breaking this like really fast. And I only had the lead that was in here, so I had to go run down to the woodcraft store to buy the refills for it, so I would not run out. Because the last thing you want to do is to be trying to mark something at 6:30 at night, and then you break and you don't have more lead. You're like, oh, now I'm just done. I can't move forward. So nice. It's nice. It's weighty and small. Got a good clip. Though I don't clip, and it comes in a. This is the retail box for it. But the nice thing about it is if you want to throw away the retail box, it has this foam insert. So you could put this in your drawer or case or something like that, and it will totally be like that. So that's, but yeah, it's so, for even at $7. Oh, it just lost my ash. Look at this, it fell on the, but that's all right because we had the power. So never will we be at a loss when we drop our ash on the table here. No more trying to sweep it up, getting your fingers dirty. Although I did pick up that ash to put it in my old ashtray here. But right now, man, really, I'm enjoying it. It's not as heavy or dark or as brooding as the Revenge, but there are nice qualities to enjoy from it. It's got good complexity, smooth, not smooth, but good complexity and very, very smooth in its complexity. But it is a more medium plus bodied cigar. So I'm liking it. I'm liking it a lot, actually. So those of you guys that know more about these, how does the vintage compare to the rest of their line? Like I can see that my initial assessment or my prejudice assessment of it was a prejudice, not nothing and not based on any reality. So nice. So how's your guys' day? Anything interesting happening? Mine was pretty good. It was pretty good, I think. I have been liking this AeroPress Clear. I mean, what's there not to like? I mean, it's not like there's anything about the AeroPress Clear that would be unusual or necessarily new compared to the old AeroPress. I mean, it is an AeroPress. There's nothing. The big difference is that you can see through it, which I kind of enjoy. Like I like it. Yeah, but there's part of me that doesn't want to use it too much because the more you use it, the more scratch, the more you know translucent it will become over time. Just because that's just the nature of the game with it. So I kind of want to preserve it. But you know what? You can always buy more. This nice. I think though we probably are coming close to the end of the first third. So soon it'll be time to give our evaluation. And it's so far very, very nice. Very nice. Let's see here. I'm going to say we've got a pretty, positive body. Man, I'm going to say 875 for that. 875 for flavor. It's very good. Actually, I'm even wondering why am I just saying 8.75? I'm really enjoying it. I think we can give flavor a 9, an excellent, excellent. Move it to excellent. Okay. So Ravens have the ball. Minute 44 left in the first quarter. Still down by 7. And at 1st and 10 at the Cincinnati 43, in case you're not watching. One of my friends, she was posting today about the Ravens, and I was like, well, I didn't know that. I didn't know that until like just before we started. And I was like, why? Because she normally posts like on Saturday, Sunday about the Ravens, and I was like, and she was posting today. I was like, why is she posting about the Ravens today? Like, game's not till Sunday. She's getting crazy. Turns out I'm the crazy one. We haven't seen yet today. We haven't seen Brian yet, have we? The day the guys were getting together at Eric's place, was it yesterday? I think it was. And I was like, I was gonna go. Like I actually was in the car driving. I drove away from my house. I was down the street, and then I just realized, you know what? I'm so tired. I'm so exhausted. Like I felt tired, like really tired. So I was like, I'm just gonna go back. I came back here, and I just sat back, had a cigar, watched some shows. I don't know if you've seen it. There's a TV series called on Netflix called The Diplomat with Kerry Russell and Rufus Sewell. And they had their first season last year, and I thought it was excellent, excellent. And so I was looking forward to it this year. And last year they had 8 episodes. This year Netflix is like shortchanging us with more British style series by giving us only 6 episodes. You're like, what the hell, 6 episodes? Let's go back to 22, 23, 24 episodes of network television. Stop doing this like shortchanging thing. But I gotta say, man, those 6 episodes, if you haven't seen it, hella good. Like so good. Like when they came up with the season finale, I was like, holy smokes, I can't believe. I was like, holy crap, that's craziness. Like they've done a very good job at the end of both seasons now to like really make it like, oh my gosh. That was good. And then what else did I watch? I watched something else. I was watching I finally got back to watching Only Murders in the Building. Still in the middle of that. That's been pretty good so far. They just had it. I'm just at the episode where they had this new twist, this really strong twist that ties this season into the previous 3 seasons. And I was like, oh, it sounds like it might be getting interesting. So interesting, I might have another cigar after this while watching my shows. All right, we've reached the end of the first quarter. 7-0. Bengals in the lead. I haven't really followed the games as closely as I used to. Like I don't really watch the games. I just kind of follow them like kind of tertiary. Like I'll look it up on Google during the game and see all they had, and maybe I won't even watch it until later. But and I don't know how it's been this year, but I remember years, for many, many years, there's never really a time with Ravens where you're like winning and you can be like, well, we're going to blow them out. No problem. I think last week was like that. Wasn't it something 40 or something to 10 or something like that? So maybe that's changing. But I just remember historically, it's always been like, you just never know. You're just waiting for the ball to drop and like all hell to like rain down upon you and like, or for the NFL to shut off the powers so they can try to turn the tables on the team. Yeah, this coffee, Matagapa Community Coffee, what Devin says is the Pacamara Natural, man, really nice. Really nice. And to go along with the cigar, really a nice pairing. There's a bit of brightness to this cigar that actually complements there's a bit of brightness to this coffee that complements the complexity and the weightiness of the cigar that I'm really liking. How are your guys' cigars doing? Let me know in the comments how they're coming along. If you're enjoying them, if you're not enjoying them, maybe you need to toss them. And here's a question for you: do you toss your cigars? Like, if you get to a cigar and you're not really enjoying it at all, will you drop it, or will you maximize your expenditure by smoking it all the way down, despite not enjoying it? Had an interesting thing happen this week. Those of you who watch the morning show already know this, but last month or back in September, I finally got this new grinder, coffee grinder, that's quite popular. It's called the Ode Gen 2 from Fellow. And I tried it a few months ago and I kind of liked it. And so when the time came when Matt was reordering for his shop, he was like, hey, well, I'm gonna place an order. He's got a wholesale account with him. Let me, would you want something? And I was like, you know what? Drop me one of those odes. I'll take one of those. And so he did, and I got one. And it's been working really well. I really have liked it a lot. And a few days ago, it just conked out in the middle of the live stream. We just stopped working. And, went through a couple emails with the customer service there, but happily they're very responsive and they're sending me a replacement one. And yesterday, he was like, we're going to send you a new one just to get it out of the way so you don't have to worry about it. And the old one, you don't have to send it back. You can dispose of it however you like. Like, really? You don't want it back? Like, you don't want to send me an RA? All right. Devin says, I feel like all new age cigars need a few years rest. The Tabernacle is good, though. A cigar would have had to be bad for me to toss it. Gotcha. Yeah, I don't really have many cigars. I think the last cigar that I actually tossed myself was when I was in Mexico, like almost 10 years ago. Brian's with us. There you are, Brian. What's going on, man? How you doing? And Steven, the brother's here too. What's going on, man? How are you doing? Everybody's here now. Finally, good. We're kind of wondering what happened to you. So I got this extra, now I have this extra grinder. Of course, the extra grinder doesn't work. But we're gonna tear it apart, see what's going on inside, and see if we can find the reason that it's broken. This diesel vintage, much, much better than I had anticipated or had expected, or that I had even considered that it could be. So we're planning on doing some paintball this weekend. I'm going to take my nephew down to Taneytown. There's a game this weekend happening. We're planning on going on Sunday. And my brother called me today. He's like, hey, it's supposed to rain on Sunday. can we, you free, you okay to go Saturday? I was like, yeah, I can go Saturday. Why not? Craig says, note to self, 50 degrees Fahrenheit is at the limit for smoke. Come on, man. You're Canadian. I thought you could like go even deeper into the winter. Of course, if you don't have a heater or fire, then it's a different story. But I think I think then it'd be much more difficult. Like we've done it. We've done it in the past, but you really got to like bundle up and like also. I remember there's times I was smoking cigars, gloves, thick coats, multi-layer, just sitting there. You're smoking because you're kind of miserable. Tony says, I rarely toss cigars. I just suffer through. Yeah. The one cigar that I do remember tossing, I was in Mexico. We were in Veracruz and walking around the town of Veracruz, and there's this guy selling these like little cigars on the street. And I mean, literally on the street. He's sitting on the sidewalk with a mat on the sidewalk selling these little tiny like rolled cigars. Looks kind of like the Di Nobili Toscanas, right? And I was like, I'm going to try one. Man, that thing tastes like we talk about manure. It tasted like manure. Like, and not manure, it tasted like shit. Like, it really did taste like dog shit. Like, it was really bad. It was really, I was like, oh my God. It's like, holy crap. I smoked maybe, I might have gotten halfway through it. And then I was like, I just can't do it anymore. I can't. That was like one of the very few times I've ever put down a cigar. George says, my credibility is intact with the recommendation. Yeah, man. Solid. I gave it a 9 for flavor the first third. That's we don't do that often. I don't know if it's going to hold, but it is enjoyable. It is enjoyable cigar. But yeah, so let me know. This is the vintage. How are the rest of the lines? Anything that you've tried that are? I mean, what are the other ones that might be interesting to try now that I've had this vintage? Or is this the best of their lineups? But sometimes I find myself with a cigar brand. Like I'll enjoy a lot of their cigars, but there's always going to be some that I find that I'll gravitate more towards. Again, like the Intemperance Revenge from Rollcraft. That's the one of all their cigars. That's the one that I would like to smoke more of. Lately, and Tony had this special running the other week for Whiskey Rebellions and Volsteads from Roma. So I bought a couple packs of that. I've been smoking those pretty much for the last few days. And I definitely like the Volstead more than I do the Whiskey Rebellion and the Grand Corona or Corona Gorda. One of those two. I like the Volstead's lighter complexity. Then the whiskey comparatively is a heavier, more robust kind of cigar. Which I don't think I mind as much, but I like it. I like that robustness better with the Brazil Arapiraca wrapper. There's a part of me that wonders. I did this. I painted this top. I think around 4:30, 5 o'clock. I wonder if I should. If I wonder, there's part of me that's thinking maybe after this live stream I can do another coat because feels pretty dry. And I started laying down with my project, my painting of some primer beforehand. I think that makes it a little bit better. Although you can see here, it doesn't coat. It's not a one coat thing. It's really kind of definitely needs two coats. But I just wish it was one. It's one and done. Ravens have scored. Excellent. So now 7-7. 11:35 to go. At least we answered. That's a good thing. And I finally caught up on the SWAT series. So I was really behind on season 7. I only finished that like maybe a week or so ago. Then finally started watching season 8. And I kind of like the new lineup. I think I've only seen the first 3 episodes. There's a 4th one out. But I was kind of curious. I follow the one girl that's on there that plays the character Powell. Her name is Anna Rich, and I follow her on Instagram. And so she shows a lot of behind the scenes stuff for the show. I was like, ooh. It's like, oh, new cast member. All right. We're getting close to where the band is, so I'm thinking about taking the band off soon. Speaking of taking the band off and smoking, I'm thinking lately about filtration because of this whole woodworking thing, right? There's a lot of dust, a lot of small particulate dust, and there's some box. I don't know if we talked about this before, but there's something that these guys designed called the Corsi Rosenthal box, and I think they came up with it during the COVID times, where you take a 20-inch box fan and you take 4 or 5 20 by 20 air conditioning filters that are what they call MERV 13 or higher, that can take out the 0.3 millimeter dust particulates, and you put them all together around this fan, and it creates this really good airflow that you can use to filter your air. But I was wondering, like, can we use that if it'll filter out dust particulates that you really can't see? Then I wonder if they could filter out cigar smoke. And if you were to add an after stage charcoal filter, would that scrub it cleaner? I don't know if you guys have any thoughts on that, but I'm interested to know if you do, what you might think. I bought the fan. The filters themselves are kind of expensive. They're like $25 each. Craig says, I used to do that in my smoky room at the old house. Oh, so did you have the Corsi Rosenthal, the design that where they tape it all together? I was thinking actually, like, you know, the ones that I've seen on the online, they basically are made to sit on the floor. Some guys have made like little legs for them, so they're kind of like this high. But I was thinking about in our thoughts with like doing smoky rooms and the way cigar smoke performs. Cigar smoke's always rising. And I found that the best lounges are the ones that have their exhaust systems, each of the exhaust ports that are right above the cigar seating position. So I was thinking, like, what if I built one, suspended it from the ceiling? Would that be a better way? Or is it because, wood particulates, maybe it's lower, but wood particulates may not rise, it doesn't rise in the same way that cigar smoke does. I don't know. Let me know, Craig. I'm interested to know how you built your box. Because from what I've seen, there's a lot of like companies that make cigar filtrate or air filtration systems, things like the rabbit air and such. I'm taking the band off now. That are, they're probably pretty nice, but the problem is they're so small. They just don't have that. They just don't have the airflow. They just don't have the capacity to really filter out. If you're pushing, if they say 250, 400 CFM, I mean, maybe with one person that might work, but with multiple people, no way. Like, there's no way it can work. Craig says just one high-end 3M furnace filter duct taped to 20. Did you get just a inch thick, or did you get the 2-inch, 4-inch? Because they say that the reason that they're doing the 4 is because they get more surface area. And I've seen other people talk about buying just one big 4-inch 20 by 20 filter, and that has the same amount of, of surface material as the larger box. And I'm curious to know, with your setup, how well did it scrub your environment? And also the other side of it is, the ones that I've seen, they would push. A lot of them will pull the air through the filter and then out the fan. I've seen ones where they do it the other way as well. But I always thought that if you push it out through the filter and then out the fan, of course, the faster your fan speed, the greater the air turbulence coming out of it. Right? There's a lot of force coming out of it, right? So this one guy was talking about how and I've seen this used in commercial installations where they have a big like fabric tube that comes out and it just kind of diffuses the air. And I was thinking, what if I built something like that? Craig says the top end 3M filters have ridiculous amounts of pleats and pull through. Okay. At the local Home Depot, I think the MERV rating, the highest they had was like 10. So not quite high enough. I think I have to order those online, the 13s. But 1-inch filters, okay. And the interesting thing with those box fans they're talking about, the box fan, of course, is a square. The fan, of course, is circular. A lot of people would tape up the corners of the box fan to channel the airflow, because evidently that extra space would actually pull air in reverse, or you wouldn't get. So they would close those off so that they would be able to direction the flow much better. Craig says, I also had an electrostatic air cleaner for this. Okay. Nice, dude. What are you going to do for the new house? Are you going to be able to smoke in your house like you did in your old one, or is it just strictly not going to be outside? Now, we're burning down and we're losing combustion. I can feel that we're losing combustion. And the cigar has turned a little bit. So I'm going to say that we're still at 875 for the body. But I do think that the second stage has dropped a little bit to 875. 16, 1750. So I think I'm going to hit it with a little bit of heat just to make sure we don't lose combustion, because I feel like it's struggling to stay lit now. Craig says that when I set up the roasting room, I will have significant ventilation to outside in that room and we'll smoke. Oh, nice. Nice. So, ooh, roasting room. What are you going to have in your roasting room? Like, what kind of roaster are you using? I like the idea of a roasting room at home. I got a bit more space here in the garage. All right, that's the burn now. Combustion's a lot better. No movement in score with the Ravens. Still 7-7. Second quarter, 6:23 to go, and it's Cincinnati has the ball on their 35, third and 15. Oh, third and 15. Oh, we're playing pretty hard on them. Good, good, good. Those guys with their crazy cinnamon chili. Although I would like to go explore more of their chili. The skyline chili they have there. Supposedly it's a lot of cinnamon. That's the interesting thing. When we were at the chili cook-off last weekend, there were like 8 competitors. So after they had the judging, I was able to go and taste all the chilies. So interesting. I think it's so interesting because we have is an idea of chili, acceptable range of chili. But within that range of chili, there's so many variations. Like all 8 were distinctly different. Oh, and all of them were really good. None of them were bad, or none of them were like, off. They were all solid stuff. One guy had a ham cream chili, more like a bisque, but it was actually really good too. So I don't know. Craig says he has a 1 kilogram drum, copy of a UG Probat made in Taiwan, but shrunk into 1 kg size, cast iron drum faceplate. Oh, nice. When you say like a Probat, are you talking about the style of Probat like the old Jabez Burns that are the sample roaster style with the barrel with the kind of tapered front, or you're talking about like an actual small, like a miniaturized UG22, like a UG1? Oh, that'd be kind of epic too. Awesome, that's awesome, man. So you're roasting mainly for yourself, or are you also doing a little bit like you were in our discussions over the time? Like you seem to have a very strong grasp of the industry. So I'm I only presume that you are or were industry at some point. And since you're in Canada, where do you source your green? Like, is there like an equivalent to Sweet Maria's in Canada, or can you just order directly from places like Sweet Maria's? And for those of you who may not be familiar, Sweet Maria's is a company in Colorado that, what are they? Maybe they're in Oakland. No, they're in Oakland, I think. Owen Thompson is the owner, and he's a longtime coffee guy. Really, really super knowledgeable, has built incredible connections across the world. And his main market really is um, home enthusiasts who want to buy a really nice quality green. He buys wonderful quality green. And over the last several years, not several years, but probably the last 15 years, he's also been selling more wholesale to coffee roasters through another facet of his business. And one of my really good friends, John Piquet, who owns Cafe de Bola in Salt Lake City, he buys a lot of coffee from those guys, and they managed to get some really brilliant stuff. Beautiful. I mean, every coffee that I've had from John was always super high quality. Craig says, I was going to start a roasting business, but running a business is too much work. And I'm, you know what? Just enjoy it. Enjoy it. Especially, you like to do racing. So why not just race and roast and be retired? Much nicer. Yeah, so if it's below 50 is the cutoff, are you at 50 right now, temperature wise, Fahrenheit, or is it colder than that at the moment? I have these shop stools that are all steel that I got many years ago. They're really nice stools overall. Like they're really industrial and they're like totally solid, but they're hard steel. And I've been sitting on this stool for all the live streams that we've done in this space. Today is the only day that my butt kind of hurts. So I'm trying to move around so that I can spread myself over the seat a little bit more, be a little more comfortable. Craig says right now it's 45 degrees, but the wind is annoying. Oh yeah, that's 45 isn't bad, but when you have the wind is always going to be a problem. The wind is always a problem. So a little bit of, like, at least when we're out at the fire pit, a little bit of wind is good because it helps to continue combustion. But man, a little bit, more than just a little bit means that you're going to be chilly, chilly. Like we were at Bud's house not too long ago having a fire, but it was there was a bit of a breeze, and I was like, "Ooh, I'm feeling a little bit chilly here." Still no movement with the teams. 6:19. We're still at the Cincinnati 35. They haven't done anything. Oh, must be like a commercial break or something. So I think it might be a little bit on the dry side because we're getting a little bit of cracking right here. You can see that little bit of cracking happening on the wrapper. It doesn't affect the smoke, but just to note, it could also be a little bit of damage to the wrapper from when I pulled the band off. Yeah, I really enjoyed the first third because we started off with that really nice bready component at the very beginning, and then it moved into a more dark complexity, a little bit more brooding. So it was really dynamic in the first third. Less so in the second. Right now, it's more static with the second than it was. Craig says also the cigar taste isn't as enjoyable as yeah, that's true. That's true. Because then your mind is occupied with many other thoughts like how do I stay warm? Are my extremities about to freeze? So your focus can no longer be on the cigar. So for your new roasting room, are you gonna is that in a building outside of your actual home, or will that be part of the house as well? And I'm actually a big fan of of total extraction. Like I don't really like the recirculation thing. I'm really only thinking more about this filter because of the wood dust, and I would like to manage that more. Like when I was routing out these channels yesterday for the last couple of days for the miter track and the T track. Like I've just got this old skill router that has no, I've got all these tools that are from the 90s that are, this is before dust extraction was even really much of a thought. So, and this skill one, it's as far as routers, it's a router. It works. It does its thing. It'll get to a certain depth. There'll be a little bit of drift on the depth stop. Like you really got to crank that down. But man, the wood dust is everywhere. Like everywhere. I did the miter track in here, and I was like, this is just, and it was everywhere. I was like, God, this sucks. So yesterday when I was doing the T track, the two T tracks, I was like, I rolled the whole thing outside. I did out there because then I could use the blower and just blow everything away. But yeah, I was talking to the guys on the Festool user owners group. I was like, hey, is there really a big difference? Because one guy, somebody that I know told me that the Festool, like say Festool routers compared to other routers aren't really like the the evolution that the other tools are. And I was like, and they were like, no, 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 dude. If you go to the Festool routers from what you're using now, you'll really see a big difference. I was like, okay, that would be nice. Craig says, yeah, you need a lot of need a dust. Yeah, I definitely need a dust collection. Like I do have I've got the extractor, of course, that from Festool, which is good. But as the stuff that's floating in the air, we really need to manage that better. But everything cigar wise, coffee wise, very nice tonight. I think next week we'll finally get to the my father stuff again. I was getting a little bit more concerned that we're doing Tatuaje my father, and what was the other one we're doing a lot of? Roma. It's like, oh man, we need to like branch out a little bit. We can't end 2024 with just a couple brands. So that's why this diesel was a nice twist. Although I did have my friend Tony was visiting from New York, and he came by. We had a cigar together, and he brought this Arturo Fuente Gran Corona, the Gran Rosado, I think the blend, a newer cigar, a little bit larger, 56. It was pretty thick, but actually really nice. Really not heavy. Like this is not like the robust heaviness or the weighty heaviness that this is. Just a really pleasant smoking cigar. It's nice to go back to a Fuente and find one that's really enjoyable. And then I had a Romeo Julieta, also kind of a 56 size. That was really pleasant too. Really, really enjoyed that. Tony says, "Oh, the Arturo Rosado R56. Yeah, that was the one. That was really enjoyable. I don't know how much they cost, but I would have to say if you want something that's not going to be like we're so used to now with these Nicaraguans, these heavy Nicaraguans, pepper heaviness, that it's nice to go to that Dominican style, that little bit smoother, a little bit more, a little bit less edgy." Ah, $12. $12. Okay. Oh, thanks, Tony. I appreciate that. Both of you. Both of you. Really? We have no movement on the game? My Google report still says 619. Still at the 35. Still Bengals ball. That can't be right. So how are your cigars coming along? Anything interesting or exciting or disappointing? I'm starting to feel a little bit of a buildup of maybe nicotine or something. I feel like it's sneaking up on me. Oh yeah, my internet connection is slow here on the laptop. Oh, Bengals are in the red zone. Oh man. Uh-oh. That can't be good. That can't be good. Tony says in the last inch, still very good. Oh, awesome, awesome. That's the mystery. So where did this mystery cigar come from? And is it part of some kind of tasting that you're doing, or what's the deal with that? Yeah, yeah. I'm starting to feel like the strength is building now. Like it just kind of crept up on me, and now suddenly it's like, oh, hey, yeah, look at this shirt. It all look all like buff. Maybe I could play football. George says that Kyle Hamilton, the Ravens' best defensive player, just got hurt. Uh-oh. Non-contact injury didn't look good. Ooh, man. Oh, that's why we've had a slowdown in the time, I guess. Oh, now 1 minute, 9 seconds. There we go. My thing has finally come back. Tony says that bought a collection of aged cigars from someone who's moving. Oh, nice. Nice. So are they just like you bought this collection of cigars and they're just unlabeled? Is that right? Tony says about one third were not labeled, but all are 15 to 20. Oh, now you've got a collection to rival Craig's collection there. So is it mostly, what is it mostly? Nicaraguans, Dominicans, or is there also Cubans in that collection? And how many did you get out of that buy? Ooh, touchdown Ravens. Man, I used to have season tickets, right? I used to had season tickets in a section called number 136, which is the in the end zone, Ravens on the Ravens side end zone, in the kind of to the side of the goalposts, from the opposite end of the tunnels where the teams enter. And oh, interception Ravens. Okay, well, even better, even better. Good, good. And they were and I remember we would, so it's in the bowl and just regular people there. And it was always kind of a fun party atmosphere. Team scores, everyone's cheering, everyone's kind of going crazy. And then one year, one game, one of my friends who has seats in the club level, the 200 level, which the club level is nice because they have an indoor side where you can just go inside the bar and have drinks, have food, watch on the TV, and stay warm during the winter. Well, the day that I went, it was fairly warm. And I remember I went out to sit in the section that we were in, which was on the Ravens side as well. And while you go to my area, people go crazy. You go to the 500 level, the top level, the high nosebleed seats. Those people go ballistic. But in the classiest of the 200 level, touchdown Ravens, and suddenly I was like, "Oh, very nice, very nice." I was like, this is luxury, but I don't want to be here. This is not fun. This is not exciting. Long live Tiberius forever. What's going on, Long Live? How are you, man? Good to see you. Hello from El Paso, Texas. New here. Well, welcome. Always good to see you, to have you join us. Smoking Isla del Cocodrillo, Cocodrillo by Warped in a Corona Grande. Oh, excellent. Corona Gorda. Pairing with some Diplomatico. I love Diplomatico. Maybe Diplomatico is my second favorite. I think my favorite rum is the Flor de Cana, but not necessarily because I think the Flor de Cana 7 is better necessarily than, let's say, Diplomatico. I think Diplomatico probably is quality-wise a better rum. But just Nicaragua, just that 7 year, because, when I would be in Nicaragua, and I would go to Nicaragua, I used to go to Nicaragua a lot, both mostly for coffee, but also when I was there, we'd do cigars. And everybody there drank Flor de Cana. So I drank lots of Flor. And the nice thing, you go to the restaurants and they give you a big bottle of the Flor, and they give you a bucket of ice and some Coca-Colas and a shot glass and a big glass, and you just make your own. You mix your own. Oh, man, good times, good times, good times. Tony says a little bit of everything, about 75 cigars. Ooh, very nice. But the interception of overturn on review, the NFL is always trying to find ways to spoil the Ravens. Mm. We're being robbed here. Well, there's always a second half. And my Google is not refreshing fast enough. Long Live says that just subscribed. I'm a Raiders fan. Oh, nice, nice. You know what? I used to be a Raider. I used to enjoy the Raiders mainly for the fashion. I had a nice Raiders jacket when I was living in Hawaii. I was like the style of the Raiders. So how do you feel about them moving to Vegas? Like, are you an Oakland person, or like it doesn't matter where they are? Ed Reed all the way. I'm an old nice. That's awesome. That's awesome. How are things in El Paso? How are things there? Is there good? I'm presuming that I've never been to El Paso. I've only been to places like Dallas. I've been to Waco, Houston, Austin, San Antonio, but I've never been out to El Paso. How are things out there? Like, what's the big food? Like, is there still a big um, barbecue scene in that part of the state? Because I know you're closer to New Mexico. So is it more New Mexican style food influenced? So Cigar, this is the diesel. vintage Robusto. A little bit uneven burn. I feel like I'm having a little bit of problem with the combustion, but overall very nice. I'm going to tap that a little bit. And I think I'm going to hit it with some fire to keep it alive. Not that it's not, it's threatening. It feels like it's threatening to go out. It's not going out. Touchdown Bengals, son of a gun. Steven's from Phoenix, so welcome to El Paso. This is terrible. That's why I don't like to follow the games. One of my cousins, many, many years ago, maybe 20 years ago, he became a betting man. Started betting on the games. Lost a fantastic amount of money to like loan sharks. He's just so stupid, to bookies, right? I was like, dude, you need to be rescued. Uh-oh, I did something. Darn it. Okay. Craig, I just started your comment, which is cool. I'm cool with that. I'm not going to unstart, but I thought I did something worse. Like one of the guys on our morning live stream, Peter, when I was driving, I was touching the screen, trying to scroll through the comments, and evidently I did something where I accidentally banned him. And I was like, oh. And he came on with his other kind of say, did you ban, you banned me? I was like, really? I was like, oh, I'm so sorry. Let me go find out how to unban you. And so I totally did. And I was kind of worried that I might have done that by accident. Long Live says that I hate it. Oakland till I die. LA at worst. Vegas is crap. Yeah, no doubt. They do have a nice stadium though. I drove by it in April. Home game to any team that visits. Nice. El Paso is good. 50 degrees outside. Oh, nice. Just right on the edge for Craig as far as what you can survive for smoking outside. All in all, can't complain. Much love, Steven. Oh, nice, dude, nice. Never bet on my own teams the way the Raiders have been for the past 25 years. Maybe you should. But yeah, so my cousin got me to bet on some of the games back then. And I remember one time we were during one of the games, if maybe it was a Thursday or Friday or Monday night game, I was at my friend's shop. We were working on our vehicles at the time. And he comes over and he's like, dude, aren't you watching the game? And I was like, no, man, because I had money on the game. And I was like, no, dude, I don't want to watch the game. He's like, why not, man? I was like, because I got money on the game now. I do not want to sit there through the roller coaster of emotion. Like, oh my God, am I going to lose? Am I going to win? Are they going to get enough point spread? I just want to know at the end of the day, do I win? Do I collect or do I have to pay? That's all I want to know. I don't want to know anything else. So I was like, okay. So I did that a few times. I was like, after that, I was like, no, this is just, it's not, I'm not enjoying it anymore. I'm just not going to do it anymore. Which is a good move because he got in deep. I think he was like 15 large. I was like, dude, you are crazy, man. You are crazy, crazy man. Eight dipping? No, I'm not dipping. I'm actually about 15 or 20 years ago. You know how people do spit when they dip because they get that saliva generation. I get that from cigars, so that's something I have to. It's not. I'm not that hardcore. I really wish it would go away because I always have to have a cup with me, but it hasn't. So. Top three cigars, regardless of price. Let's see. I would say probably the number one favorite cigar that I've smoked, especially on this show. I would say that it would be the Meerfeld Mare, which is a relatively new cigar that came to market within the last 2 years. It's wildly well, it's not. I guess it's not wildly expensive, but it's expensive. It's considerably expensive at $45 a piece. But man, every one that I've had was exquisite, exquisitely done. The Mirfield family is based in Europe. They basically have controlled all of the Canary Islands tobacco trade for the last 300 years or whatever. And they finally came up with a really what they call the uber luxury cigar, and I've really found that to be really excellent. So that would be like maybe the best cigar I've had recently. But what do I go to mainly? Like if I had my druthers and had unlimited access to them, I normally smoke a lot of Roma Craft Revenges, the box pressed Robusto with the Brazil Auto Paraca wrapper. I love that one. I think that's a fabulous cigar. Another one that I've loved over the years is the Paul Gamirian Bellicoso Maduro. For like 5 years in the early 2000s, that was like almost the only cigar I smoked for 5 years. It was really what I liked a lot. Um, Tony says those parlays, yeah, man, they killed him. They killed him. So I stayed away from that. I was like, I can't be doing that. What else did I like? Tatuaje, always very nice. My favorite of the tatuajes, and I think this is mainly because it was the first tatuaje that I ever smoked back in 2004. It's now called the Kohonu 2003. I think consistently that's been always an enjoyable cigar. Now it's like $15 to $18, so a little bit pricey. I like that a lot. In the Cuban world, if you get nice examples of them, which is sometimes can be difficult to find, so you really have to find a good purveyor for Cubans. But the Monte Cristo #2, when they're money, they are so banging, like wonderful cigars. And the cigar that Craig spoke in tonight, the Partaga Series D #4, that's always a performer. I guess I'm kind of like in the Cuban world, I tend to be very typical. Monte #2s, Partaga Series D #4s, um, Bolivar Belicoso. But another one that I've really found that I enjoyed the two times that I've had it is the relatively new Trinidad Medio Luna. I've had that a couple times from La Casa de los Banos that I've been to around the world. And that is, the times that I've had it has been strong, very, very strong performers. Steven's having a Padron 64 Imperial Maduro. These are his top three. Padron 64 Imperial Maduro. I'm getting the 64s are always excellent cigars. LFD Cabinet Ligero 300 and the Roma Craft. Yeah, the Roma Craft Revenge, man. There's something about that Brazil Auto Paraca wrapper that just gives it this deep, smoky complexity that without being smoky, that just really resonates for me. Long Live says, the Cuban world for me, since I live across the border, which is easy for me. Oh, that's good. That's good. So is life in El Paso like the movie Sicario? I know it's probably not, but had to ask. Had to ask. Oh, the Lusitana. Oh man, that's a serious cigar. Portagas Lusitana. And the Hoyo de Monterrey Double Corona and Hoyo de Monterrey #2. Oh, those are, I've not really had my very first cigar, not my very first cigar, my very first Cuban. Well, it must have been like the mid to early 90s. I was in Toronto and I went to a cigar shop in Toronto and I was really new to cigars, really, really new. And I remember I went to this cigar shop and I was like, oh, my first time getting Cubans, what should I try? What should I have? I wanted to buy a box. And all I could afford at the time was this box of Hoyo de Monterrey Epicure #2s. They're really small, probably about that long, that thick cigar. So I bought a box of those and I smoked those. I think I still have like two of them left. And I kind of keep them because they're more nostalgia. But I really like those. Actually, that was the cigar that when I first started smoking, Tony didn't smoke at the time, but I was at his house. His father smoked cigars. So his father and I smoked these Hoy de Monterey cigars in his kitchen. Man, you can't do that anymore. Steven says those Cubans make some good ones for sure. Absolutely. There's some really good ones. And then unfortunately, their quality control is really kind of whacked in some respects, so that sometimes you get these really wonderful examples, and then the next time you get them, they're just not consistent. Like, for example, one year, my friend and I, we pitched in, we bought these cigars, these box of Monte number twos from Gerard in Geneva, Switzerland. And Gerard sent it out to us, and it cost us a wild amount of money. I think we spent like $200 a piece for this one box. And we split the box, and man, they were so good. They were so like delicious and just perfection. And each of us smoked that box down like immediately. And then we're like, we're out. What are we gonna do? Let's order. We don't want to spend that kind of money again. Let's order from Pure Express in Spain. So we ordered another box from them. Dog rockets, just totally terrible. I smoked a couple. I was like, this is terrible. Put them away for a year. Came back to them, still terrible. And then, like many years later, I went to Geneva myself to visit Vahe Gerard, and Vahe was taking me on a tour, and he was telling me, he's very selective about what he sells. So he gets like an order, and then he selects the best. He opens them all the boxes up and reviews them, and only keeps the best. He sells the rest to duty free. You know, the day that I visited him, he had just received an order from Habanos, and his order was 300 boxes. And he was like, I went to them all, and I'm only keeping 85. I was like, you're only keeping 85 out of 300 boxes? But if you've ever ordered from Gerard, and if you haven't, and you want to splurge, and if he does sell to the United States again, because he stopped selling in the United States because he's the kind of purveyor that you're going to pay a premium to buy from him. But if the customs confiscates the box, he's going to replace it. And I guess it got to be so, the confiscation got so much that it was no longer tenable. So he stopped shipping from to the United States for quite a long, this is probably about 2016, I think he stopped shipping. So I actually haven't had his cigars in almost 10 years. But man, they're so good. Another great purveyor, if you want to go to Europe for it, is Sully Delay of Delay Cigar in Saarbrücken, Germany, Western Germany. He's excellent too. I've been to his shop, smoked many cigars with him. Craig says the Partagas is done, back inside. Yeah, that's how it is. Finish your cigar, go inside, warm up, come back out. Yeah, maybe you won't come back out. It is kind of late. It is getting kind of late. Longlive says that Trinidad Fundadores. Oh, that is a nice one. I haven't had those in a while. And El Paso is very peaceful. Nothing like oh, okay. I figured it wouldn't be like that, but it's like Baltimore. Baltimore has a reputation of being this really violent city. But, it's not that violent. At least where I go to, it's not that violent. You know how it is. But it's always funny for me. It's like my friends are like, I would travel to different countries. And people, let's say I'm going to Colombia. Right? Some people I know, they're like, you going where? Colombia. I was like, Colombia? Isn't that dangerous? I said, dude, we're from Baltimore. We have a better chance of getting killed in here. I have a better chance of getting killed in Baltimore than I do in Bogota. But again, it's always about where you are, right? Like if you go to Brazil, you can go to nice places, and if you never go to the favelas, you're never going to have much problems. So this cigar, pretty darn good. I think we can rate the last third. I think we're very consistent as far as the second third. So I'm still going to say for flavor 875. And I think the body still is 875. Body's been very consistent. We had the flavor was, I think, the best at the very beginning, the first third. with, a little more dramatic complexity and changes, bready, and then they became more darker and brooding, more just so interesting. The rest of it has been relatively consistent. Burn and draw have been excellent. Consistency, I'm going to say 875 for consistency, so very good plus. So let's see here. Really? This can't be right. Well, maybe it is. I think overall, we're going to say 875. Huh. This is a surprise. Tony says that Tatuá Escasos H or the Black Label Corona Gorda. Oh, yeah, those are beautiful cigars. I smoked a lot of the Escasos N, the Noellas, recently. I had a whole box of them. I just finished the box recently. Very nice cigar. Very lovely. Roma Craft Neanderthal Corona Gorda. Oh, nice. I just had the Weasel Fest Neanderthal last night. The what do they call the Petite Gordos? Always robust, right? Always robust. And the Sin Compromiso Verita Magica. Oh, nice. Nice. I don't think I've had that particular one. Tony also says that the Cuban Monte Cristo #2 and Partagas series #4. Yeah, always a beautiful cigar. And Craig says Gerard ages his cigar before selling. Yeah, he has this. He showed me his aging room. That you probably see if you watch the videos on YouTube where they do a tour with the one that has the louvered glass doors. That's actually not in the shop. It's actually in the building next door. You have to go across the street and like maybe down half a block. But amazing facilities, amazing stuff that he's doing there. Longlive says that I've been to Baltimore a few times. Oh, nice. Never seen anything how the yeah. It's never like that. It's not. And one thing that when you're from Baltimore, you go places, especially the last 20 years. Where are you from? Baltimore. Oh, The Wire. It's like yeah. That's it. Enough said. Don't mess with me. Don't mess with me. And recommend the cigar I'm smoking, the buttery cigar for sure. A buttery cigar for sure. Up to the last. Oh, nice. Very nice. Very lovely. And he also likes the Sin Compromiso. It's awesome. The Sin Compromisos tend to be very nice cigars. Although I have to be honest, like as much as I like Steve Saka and enjoy the cigars, I don't find myself grooving as well with the Dumbarton line of cigars. It's kind of like my relation with my father. Like my father makes nice cigars, right? And we did have one recently that we smoked, but I think I rated fairly well. But overall, like I don't find myself grooving with my father as much as I do with like the Tatuay. Like I really feel the groove with Tatuay, but not so much the other ones. Like I had the successor, that's what it was, the successor from Jaime Garcia. I really enjoyed that, and especially the Torpedo, that was excellent. The Corona Gorda, I didn't enjoy as much. And I was talking to the rep at the event that we were at, and I asked him, hey, which of these two should I smoke? He said, try the Torpedo first. And I'm glad I did, because had I had the Corona Gorda first, I would not have been as interested to try the Torpedo as I did the other way around. And I have a better impression because I smoked the Torpedo first. Like I would want to have more Torpedoes. So this cigar has performed much better than what I was expecting. Like I mentioned at the beginning of the show, I had always had this impression of Diesel, and for no particular reason, just because the branding and the name just kind of gave me the impression that would be like a flathead or like a Gurkha or a Rocky Patel, which and Gurkhas and Rocky Patels especially, I don't really find myself grooving with much at all. So I never really tried the diesel. It wasn't until George Shem was like a few weeks ago. He was like, "Hey man, you should try the diesel." And I was like, "All right, I'll give it a try." And so we were at Tony's shop a couple weeks back, and he was like, "Yeah, have you tried the diesel?" I was like, I'll try it." And it has performed very well. One of the higher rated cigars, 87.75. So surprisingly, surprisingly good. Surprisingly, like I say, surprising because like I said, I wasn't expecting it to perform this well. So if you haven't tried the diesels, maybe it's worth checking out. At least the vintage. I don't know about the rest of the lines, but the vintage has been a solid performer. And for 10 US dollars with the OTP tax we have here in Maryland, which is I think is what 6.75% extra, it's not a bad buy. It's about in line in price with the Rumcraft Revenge, which I wouldn't say that I wouldn't choose this over the Revenge, but and I think the Revenge actually when we used it on the show a while back and scored, I think the Romacraft Revenge actually scored lower at 86, I think it was. It just doesn't, there's something about the Revenge that just clicks for me. And while still burning, it's a little bit tight. Feels like the combustion's starting to fizzle. But overall, really great. All right, I guess that's going to be it. We're past the 2 hour mark, and my butt is hurting on this very hard steel stool. All right, so once again, thank you very much for hanging out with me here on Thursday night. Always good to see all of you, and long live welcome to our little crew here. Always good to have new people join us. We'll be back again next week. I think next week we're gonna. I'll try to make the my father 20th anniversary happen for us so that we can do that. So I guess that's it for this week. Thank you very much for tuning in. Always good to see all of you. Back again next Thursday for another round of the Thursday Night Hang here on the Coffee and Cigars live stream. Hope you have a wonderful week and enjoyable weekend and all that. And see you next time.